What's up, good people? And we're here for the first episode of the Less of a Man podcast. I am Daryl Jones, and I have my peoples with me who will be accompanying me on this podcast as well. Y'all are already laughing.
It's peoples.
Yeah, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
So my name is Edward. Call me EJ.
Call you EJ now?
EJ.
Where did the EJ come from?
Edward Joseph.
Okay. So what is the point of calling you EJ if you're just gonna give your whole name?
Well, you asked me where it came from, so I explained it.
Okay. Okay, cool. I thought you were just trying to hide who you were or something.
What? No.
Okay, so cool EJ name. All right, go ahead.
Okay, listen to this one, people. My name is
Listen to this one.
Shar Morge Miller. I go by Morge for short. So that's all I
You go by Morge for short?
I do go
Some
by
people
Morge
call
for
him
short.
Shar.
Yeah, we call him Shar.
Well,
I
it depends
call him
on
Morge.
which circle you're in. So some family call me Morge. You call me Shar, of course. So
I didn't call you.
We're gonna
Morge
call you
or
Shar.
every other time.
Okay,
That's something different.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm sorry. I've been told that my nickname today will be Shar. So we'll go with that.
Next time it'll be Morge.
Okay, I got you.
Just with however we feel.
Mhm.
So this is our Less of a Man podcast, and the reason we kind of come together is I have friends, especially female friends, that say black males we don't talk about certain things. We don't come together. Basically, she thinks all we talk about is like girls and what we're gonna do, like money wise. And I tried to tell her, no, we have real conversation. We have financial, spiritual, what's going on in the world, political. And she didn't believe that. And I was just like, but you're not privileged to those conversations. So how would you kind of know what those things are, right? So this is what we're going to kind of do. We're missing a person today, the fourth person in the crew. I don't know if he's part of the crew right now, but he's doing.
He's like an extra.
He's an extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a friend of the.
A special guest.
A
Friend of the
special
show.
guest. Yeah. So he's not here today, but hopefully, he will be here next week once we have a great topic to speak about. But things have been kind of, with the world has been kind of crazy, especially this year. 2020 has been a year, right? Right?
And ready for 2021.
You ready for 2021?
Let's try again.
So, as everybody, of course, knows, the major thing that happened was the coronavirus. And the coronavirus has shut everything down. It had completely changed our way of life. And I just wanted to talk to you guys, try to get a little health check to see how y'all been holding up, what y'all been doing, what y'all think about it through this situation. Because, when I first heard about it, we was in Mexico. We was in Mexico at my bachelor party, and we were getting news about it. But then I'm like, man, I was on the beach, man. I ain't really care about none of that, man. And then I kept hearing news that it's serious. And I think at that point, I don't know if it came to the United States at that point, but it was close.
Right.
It was close at that point. And then I'm still thinking we had a good time in Mexico, man. No problems at all. Came back, and we were getting ready for my wedding. And that's when it seemed like everything kind of turned to hell, right? So I thought it wasn't that serious. And I was one of those people, you see it on Facebook and social media, it was like black people are not getting it. You remember back then?
Oh, my God. I remember that.
You remember it? And so I was like really thinking that black people weren't getting this. And I was like, we were immune because every time you heard somebody, it was a white person, right? And I was sitting there like, I'm like, we good. We about to go on with the wedding. And the thing that made me like sit back and say, yo, this is the apocalypse, is when the NBA got canceled.
Really?
Yeah, when the NBA got canceled, that's when I realized, yo, black people can get this,
So
man.
they took away your sports, and therefore you like, okay, this is real.
Yeah, I was watching it that day.
The NBA is the gauge of.
The NBA was the gauge, and that's the funny thing about it. And I read somewhere that was like, no, it was on Facebook, and this girl, she posted, she was like, no, black males didn't take it seriously until the NBA got stopped. And I was like, yo, that was me. Like I really looked like, to me, this was the apocalypse.
But what was the name of the player that ironically coughed on
Rudy
the mic?
Gobert. Rudy Gobert, the center of the Utah
Yeah.
Jazz, he coughs on the mic. He was the first NBA player to have it.
You actually get it, yeah.
Yeah, to actually get it. And then even when he got it, I think he's like half white. So I was like, maybe still. But then when his teammate Donovan Mitchell got it, I was like, oh snap, Donovan Mitchell's black, and it's just like.
That's too deep.
So I wanted to know what was that moment for you guys that was like, man, this shit real at this point.
Oh gosh. I didn't pay attention to NBA, so that was definitely not my.
It wasn't the
typical
NBA
point for my train of thought. I think for me, like it kind of started to click when they sent us all home.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone went to work from home. We had to grab our laptops. We could only take so much stuff, and we went home. But then I think it really started to hit because you know how I also work at Starbucks. I think it really started to hit when the changes started to happen at Starbucks, where they were like closing stores, and then partners were starting to like get COVID, and they were starting to quarantine people, and then it hit my store. Like it took a while to hit my store, but the stores around were closing for whatever reason, for those same reasons. So I was like, oh wow, like that's when I felt like, okay, like this thing is here to stay for a while.
So how did they tell you? Because my company also made us work from home, and it was funny. I was kind of campaigning for us to work from home, and then when they did it, it was just like I was like, cool. Like for me, nothing has really changed in my life other than I kind of work from home.
You don't really work in the first place.
I work extremely hard, man.
That's
but how did the company like tell you?
So it took a long time for them to get to that. I want to say my company was like one of the last companies to actually send us home. But it took a while to get us there. They kept on sending out communications about what was happening and updating us, and then giving us pulse checks. Then they started to ask people with kids, like, if they needed accommodations, because, at that time, then schools were starting to kind of close, too.
Yep.
So then they started going that route, and then they started asking people about, like, autoimmune diseases or any other disease that would make you, more susceptible. So then they started sending out questionnaires about that. That's how it started. But then it just got to a point where they were just like, okay, everyone's going home. Like in the communication, be prepared to go home. We're going to send out communication on when you guys are going to go home. We're going to send you guys home in waves. And that's kind of
They sent y'all home in waves?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's crazy.
People need their coffee.
Yeah, well, it's a call center. Well, that was Starbucks. That's the other job is the office job. Right. So it's like call center.
He has a lot of jobs, y'all.
I have a lot of jobs. I wear a lot of hats. But no, so it's a call center. So the business guarantees and performance guarantees are on how quickly we answer calls. So to send everyone home at the same time would affect that. So it was like waves of people going home.
But that's crazy because that's still like the business still caring about their business more than they care about people. Because it's like, why can't you just send them all, just to make sure they safe? Because it could have been one person got in there, spreaded it to to everybody else.
And that was my thought, because my whole question was, why did it take so long for them to get to that point? They kept on reminding us, hey, no one said that they or confirmed that they had COVID in the building, because we share a building with other businesses. So
ours do too.
That property manager was definitely talking about or in communications with our upper management, and so it was just there was no reason for us to move that quickly. We want to make sure everything runs smoothly, blah yada yada. But like the United States is kind of like, it's really geared more toward the business. So like,
definitely capitalism, definitely.
To, the business.
It's definitely capitalism.
So that's kind of how it went down, though, and it always kind of is that way.
All right. So the one person, I guess I can't talk about when your company did, because you have no company. So
I guess I have a different vantage point for a good reason as to why I am not employed at this time.
Go ahead. Do you want to explain to me?
Yes, of course. I was actually already quarantined before everybody else was quarantined, because I just had my kidney transplant back in January. So, of course, I'm at home, already quarantined, sad, not being able to go anywhere anyway. So I guess when I first realized it was getting serious is actually when my appointments were moved from actually in person to actually having to do it over the internet with telemed. So I'm like, okay, this is something serious if they're not actually wanting us to come in.
They have virtual appointments for you?
They actually have virtual appointments. We had several virtual appointments that we had to go to, before, when stuff started to kind of get pretty bad.
Right.
And also, my mom, she is constantly texting every single day about every single item that's on CNN, MSNBC, CBS, everywhere. So, when, I saw her getting serious, and then actually someone close to our family actually got infected. and unfortunately passed away from it. So that's when it really got deep and serious. Like, okay, yeah, this is.
That's why I was gonna ask you. Have y'all known anybody who kind of got infected by it? Because I have several coworkers who got infected, several ones, and we had one person pass on my wife's family side. When I think it's her great aunt. Mm-hmm. So has any of you Shar just said one for you, Edward? Have you had somebody?
Yeah, I had a coworker, a really close coworker. She actually was asymptomatic, and so when she got tested, because her mom tested positive,
right.
who had her daughter, she moved here from Maryland, and she went to visit them, and she came back and had tested positive. She thought she was going to be negative because she had no symptoms. Also, my roommate's dad tested positive, and he went through that whole thing. He's older as well, so there's two people there that I know personally that did. Now, as far as my family, no one, thank God, has tested positive or had any, anything happen. So I guess let
me tell y'all a little story, right? So we had to postpone our wedding. Our wedding was supposed to be March 20th. 2020. So we pushed it back, and it was June 19th. So we just had it. And I was nervous because I was still going to go on with the wedding because we paid a lot of money for this. But I was nervous that we were going to get somebody who had it, and then we would have to tell the X amount of guests that they have to get tested. Now, I really thought, because it was y'all both, of course, both of y'all were groomsmen at my wedding. It was no social distancing going on. It was no mask. It was nothing. It was. You would have thought it was just a regular day. Yeah. So I wanted to ask y'all, how has y'all's life kind of changed now that for COVID? What changes have you made to your life to kind of to protect yourself from it? I could say for me, I'm always in the store with a mask. Always. I have a hand sanitizer in my car, so every time I come from the store, I wipe my hands or whatever. I'm washing my hands constantly. When it first happened, man, I was like, I had to teach myself to stop touching my face. Mm-hmm. And it was like ants were crawling on my face. Even at home, man, I've been a little more lax now at home, but I constantly tell myself to stop. Don't make sure you're not touching your face. So what are some of the things y'all kind of have done to kind of help stop the spread?
Honestly, really, for me, I've just not really been going out in public that much. Like I used to like to try to go to restaurants or go out with my friends to clubs or just go out in public places, and I've really kind of like cut all the way back on that. So I've been at home a lot. Of course, the mask. Of course, working at Starbucks, the food industry, we're constantly washing our hands. I feel like I wash my hands more than the times that it tells us to wash our hands. My hands are so dry, but yeah, like I've been just trying to do all the things that they recommend. When I do come home from work, I do showers so that, I can wash off whatever I might have encountered while I was at work. Mm-hmm. That's really, really been my goal. Just really limiting the amount of like social spaces that I'm in, and definitely trying to adhere as much as possible to the guidelines with masks.
So with the CDC guidelines.
Yes.
The CDC, what about you?
I think we're on the same page with
your house like more like Fort Knox.
Okay, yeah, because no one was coming in.
Nobody was coming in.
I know several times you called me and I'm like, nah, you can't come.
Which I was highly offended at because other people was over here, but then I couldn't come over.
It was only family members who were allowed to come in.
No, it was not only family.
Okay,
members.
Who else was here?
Your wife's friend was here.
They were dropping off a few items.
No, she was staying here.
Okay, I forgot. Okay, you know what? And you know what? As you say that's actually
he always has. Yeah, he always has to backtrack because he always forgets.
Because there was actually a little bit of I guess a dispute between Sneed and I as far as whether or not this friend should stay here. Only because she was actually one of the essential workers because she was currently working at one of the supermarkets here.
Right.
It's in Georgia. So I was a little concerned because, of course, she's like you, Edward, is exposed to different people every day who you don't know where they're going and what they're doing. So I was a little concerned as far as that's concerned. But outside of that, we made sure that we wash our hands on a daily basis, wore masks, and just pretty much, followed the CDC guidelines to make sure that we were doing what we were supposed to do.
So everybody has somebody in their house who is essential worker. Of course, my wife works for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, so of course she's essential, and because she works for that, she's on my case a lot about what I can and can't do. But I'm like you, I don't really leave the house at all. So we had like 3 months that we was just like on lockdown, like serious, not serious lockdown because overseas was serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For us, for Americans, they were serious.
And especially in Atlanta, it was a little bit more than some other places.
So what did y'all do during that lockdown where we was basically not only going to the store was like the only place we were going?
Netflix.
Oh yeah, Netflix got so much on
they
money.
They must have gotten so much money.
I don't know how they make money actually because they have so many options as far as movies and everything. So they have to not be making money because of all. And I know they probably got about 5 subscriptions of 1 million people that's actually sharing those 5 subscriptions. So I can't imagine.
I'm saying all of them because I got Netflix, I got Hulu.
Yeah.
I just got Amazon Prime today as I got here.
Thank you.
Thanks to Shar.
Yeah.
I got Disney Plus. I got DC streaming service. Like it would get to a point where I was bored. Like I watched so much stuff, I was so bored.
I think I watched all the horrible horror movies because I'm a horror junkie. So
I am too.
Like I watched all the worst of the worst horror movies.
And I guess we did Zoom calls. That was actually something.
Yeah, we did Zoom calls. Yeah. My job tried to do like Zoom like happy hours.
Mm-hmm.
I did it one time and I was like, man, I'll never do this again. They the most boringest. Like I don't know why people think that like this is the alternative.
Yeah.
Like it's sad to me. It's sad. Like the versus battles I thought were really good. They're good now. I did not enjoy them at the beginning. And also remember the DJs was playing.
Yeah.
Like Jermaine Dupri had a DJ set. I thought those were boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Well, it's kind of hard to dance when you're in your house by yourself.
Yeah, when you lock down, it's kind of hard to be excited. And it was just crazy, man.
I went to a Zoom baby shower.
How was a Zoom baby shower?
Because watched the mom to be just open up presents, and that's all we did. And of course, you got about 50 family members on the phone, and everybody want to talk at the same time. So
right.
Definitely
you got to mute everybody.
Yeah. But then they somehow find a way to figure out how to talk, and that was definitely probably the worst experience of my
because for
quarantine life.
For people who don't know, I am expecting a child as well, and they try to say to do a Zoom baby shower, and I'm like, hell no, I don't want to do that. Like so people can just watch me. Like that's
open gifts.
Like no, I don't want to. You do it for the experience, the camaraderie of being around people. But I don't want to do that. Like the drive-by baby shower, the drive-by graduations. Like
I think the drive-by baby shower is a little bit better because you're at least having interaction.
You can see the person.
Like a Zoom is like you're just sitting there watching someone over.
Daryl, if you want that car seat, you better participate.
No, we doing a baby shower. We doing our baby shower is going to be strictly our family, close family. So we're gonna get that, and then y'all can just slide me your credit card, and I'll take it from there.
Doing a man shower.
Yeah, okay.
Father shower.
We doing a father. I don't know.
I don't like the term man shower.
Yeah, we discussed the title. Can we change the title?
It's definitely not an option.
A bachelor party. That's what.
We're gonna do a bachelor. So we are gonna do it.
It was the bachelor.
Well, excuse me. So I guess we are gonna do something. So. The major thing I think, so we have a lot of people who's like protesting. Trump said on this past weekend, they were talking about people not wearing masks, and he says he feels like, well, it's a peaceful protest for them not to wear masks. I think at the very beginning, the government kind of didn't do a great job with this. And I say even with the CDC, but I understand that the CDC was still learning. Remember at the beginning, it was like masks weren't mandatory. Then they said only if you're sick, wear a mask. Now they're saying everybody wear a mask. But the major thing I think the government messed up was when we were on lockdown, and I told y'all this all the time, there was no direction. So they would say, oh, we're going to be here for about a month. Then a month passed, 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks passed, 3 more weeks. And I'm like, if we would have just had some type of direction, like, hey, we're going to be, like, if the government told me right now, we're going to be on lockdown for 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks for the rest of the year, we're going to wear masks. It's going to be mandatory to wear masks. At least for me, that's direction. So I want to see how y'all feel. Do you feel like the government kind of handled this thing, correctly?
Well, I feel like the government was completely unprepared, and to me, that's kind of surprising.
Well, he said it was a hoax. Remember?
Exactly.
He said it was a hoax
So
at first.
unprepared. It wasn't really taken as seriously as it should have been, especially initially. It's not like this just popped up in March or January or whenever it started. It had already started.
Right.
So I think that our response initially was so slow that allowed for where we are now. And then now we're trying to take it serious, and it's already.
Are we trying to take it serious?
We're trying to be more proactive. We are, but you can't really be proactive when so? Something is already spread.
I don't even think so.
I think we just messed up by reopening.
That's enter. So y'all think we messed up by reopening? See, I disagree with y'all, but I'll let you go ahead first.
I'll go a little bit deeper. Okay. And I think, Daryl, you agree with this, that we as Americans don't like to be told what to do.
That's the biggest thing I learned from this situation. So we do not want to be told what to do.
So with your point of someone saying we're only going to be on lockdown for 3 weeks, what if we were told that we are going to be on lockdown until further notice? As an American,
I would have a huge problem with that. Huge problem with that.
So I guess that's the question we have to ask ourselves. How much are we willing to sacrifice for the greater good of all?
But you cannot sacrifice freedom for safety. You can't do it.
Then we're at an impasse. So
you can't do it. No, we're not at an impasse. People have to be accountable. So I don't think it was a problem for us to reopen. At that point, the curve was flattening. It looked promising. But it's the reason it spiked up is not because we reopened. The reason it spiked up is because people not doing what the CDC recommended.
But why?
Because people only care about Americans when they're going against black people.
But I don't think that's it. But I think that's part of it. But I think the big majority of our example is supposed to be from the government and those people that are governing the country. If your government is treating the whole pandemic like a joke, then how do you think the people that are underneath them that they're actually
but what I say is we're only Americans when we're going against black people is when we're black. Well, all three of us are black, of course, at work. But working on it. But we only talk about Americans when black people say, "Hey, we're standing up for the wrongdoings against us." Then they're like, what about America? We should unite under the flag, but we don't unite under America to do a simple thing like put on a mask to help do the curve. I don't think it was a problem with us opening it up. I think we should, just like some people were scared of their health, some people were scared of their livelihood. So it's a different aspect, and people who are okay to go out, fine, let them go out. But they still need to follow the CDC guidelines, and they're not following the CDC guidelines. How many Facebook videos have we seen where, especially some white lady, flipped out over a mask, over simple wearing a mask?
But I think we need to go a little bit deeper than that. Why is she flipping out? I think it's because this has been politicized, and that's really what the bigger issue is. It's because at the end of the day, if we know what we need to do in order to make the curve go down. I mean, this is not.
It's not a secret. It's on the CDC website as we speak.
Yeah, so the question is why aren't we doing it as a unified nation?
And that's really my question, because I don't kind of understand why. And when it's something that's that simple, it's something that's like, it's not a permanent. Like, if we do this, it's not permanent, but we have so many people that we see all the time that just kind of refuse to do it. I think you cannot make a law mandating people to wear masks for the simple fact I don't want to put police in that situation. Police have already shown us they haven't been the best in doing the law and how they delve it out. So I don't even want to put them in that situation. But I think the best thing, what I would have did if I'm Trump, of course, I'm a little smarter than Trump. So, of course, what I would have did is I would have been on the phone to every business and was like, hey, we need y'all to mandate masks into y'all business. Kind of what they're doing now, but it should have did. Yeah. They should have did at the very beginning. We need y'all to mandate. We're going to back you up 100% if somebody say anything, but we need y'all to mandate masks. We cannot put a law, because if we make it a law, somebody has to enforce it. But if y'all, it's not a privilege for you to shop at Walmart. So if you're going to shop at Walmart, just like Walmart now, you got to abide by these rules.
But what do you do when your leaders aren't doing the things
that
that
you are
show.
trying to
Yeah, that's
get
the
people
struggle.
to do. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard for you to tell someone to do something and you see the example of doing completely the opposite.
No, that's especially when Trump was like, I didn't want to wear a mask because I didn't want to give the people the satisfaction of seeing me in a mask.
Yeah.
It's completely idiotic.
And of course, I mean, humans are dumb.
Humans are dumb.
We just want to pick a side, and that's what we do.
But why is this politicized now? Why is a simple thing like the virus don't care if you Democrat, Republican? Why is this thing so politicized? And Trump was on there. I wonder if y'all saw it where Trump was mad that Dr. Fauci had a better approval rating
Yes.
than he did. But they're supposed to be on the same teams. Like, so why has this thing been so kind of politicized?
First of all, the president has an issue with everyone for some reason. Like he had a freaking issue with Senator John.
Well, he was. You talking about John Lewis? He wasn't coming
because he didn't
come to the inauguration.
I'm like, he says the craziest things, just like out of nowhere. Oh, you didn't do this, or this person has a better. Like honestly, like that's part of the problem. That's part of the issue is that the focus is so many other places. Like it's kind of hard to reel everyone in to kind of do one thing together because some people are focused on the pandemic. There are other people that are completely unbothered by it because I feel like throughout history, if something doesn't affect you personally or it's not in your area or neighborhood, it kind of you're oblivious to it. Like just like if you can bring up a number of different things, you can bring up the crack epidemic. What was that? The early 80s, 90s?
80s messed our households up.
80s, 90s, but now we have an opioid pandemic now in the
affecting the
2000s because it's affecting a completely
well, it's affecting the Caucasian
demographic. So now,
now it's
like,
higher up in the
it's
priorities.
All those things we always look to the government for a response to tell us what we should be doing because a lot of people are not knowledgeable. People don't understand. So that's why we have WHO and we have CDC and we have those organizations to give us guidance. But when that's not happening, it's just like everyone's like looking. So it becomes political because we need someone to be telling these organizations to give us direction.
Because Trump wore a mask one time and has not worn it since.
Trump has been around doing so many things that are so beyond what you should be doing.
Especially there was a Republican. He was one of the ones that was like, I don't want to wear a mask. And he contracted it. So he was on the news and they was like, well, he said, I think I got it from wearing a mask.
Yeah, and
that is like the fathom that people are going through, because we could literally, like the CDC said, if we all wear a mask within, I think it's like 4 months, all 95% of us wear masks, it's almost as if we were in lockdown. It's going to have the same effect. And then people just refuse to do it, man. And that's just crazy to me. Lashar, what do you think?
I just think it's so deep-rooted in there's so many different things as far as racism is concerned in terms of people just not wanting to be told what to do about.
But how you say it's racism when it's mostly white people? It's all white people pretty much.
Because as weird as this may sound, for some reason I really do believe that a lot of people think that are afraid that they're losing their livelihoods, and somehow they attach that to the concept of not wearing a mask. As crazy as that may sound.
Well, you talking about like their jobs and their businesses?
Just in terms of the way our country is changing. We're becoming more diverse. We're becoming different. And of course, we lean toward the people that believe are going to protect us from losing those own values, which are in the case of
Trump supporters. That's why Trump got elected, basically. Yes.
So of course, you're going to do whatever your leader tells you to do, and your leader is telling you don't wear a mask.
Masks aren't necessary.
So. Yeah, exactly. So they're connecting all of that to the idea of what's best for them in terms of saying.
But how is that best for you? For you getting sick and possibly dying is best.
I mean, but it's the equivalent of people going and having unprotected sex. You know that if you have unprotected sex, number one, pregnancy could happen. You could get an STI.
But you're making my point.
People choose not to.
Yes, but you're making my point. I said this all the time when people was asking for like a mandate and all that. I was like, for years when we were kids, getting AIDS was a death sentence when we were kids, and people were still doing it. So you can't. So like you said, people are stupid. You ain't gonna save everybody. All you can do is do the best you can, give people the knowledge, and hopefully they make the right decision. But we seen even in lockdown, like my wife hates for me to say this because she's from Baltimore, but we was getting videos from Baltimore from house parties and block parties during the
even
lockdown
at the beach.
But
Because it was over spring break,
right?
and
Yes,
so
and that's how Florida, the
going,
people in Florida,
exactly.
and so like, if you do another lockdown, like people now they didn't listen then when it was like new. Now for the most part, we kind of understand what this virus is. We still don't have a vaccine or a cure for it, but we kind of understand it. So people definitely not gonna listen now.
Yeah, I don't think a lockdown. I think a few weeks ago I was like, okay, maybe we do lockdown.
You were that way 2 weeks ago.
You were really
I was really kind of pushing it only because I wanted to see like a period of time where like it had time to die down.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if they're saying the equivalent of wearing masks is the same thing, then I'm cool with that. I just wanted to see progress. I don't feel like it is. We've reached 5 million in the United States.
Yeah.
And
over 160,000 have died from this.
And only 4 states make up 40% of all the cases.
Mm-hmm. Georgia's one of them, man.
New York, Florida, and California.
But New York going down.
New York is going stabilizing. They're going down.
Other ones have not been.
Right. That's just that's crazy. It's just
especially Florida is crazy for me because Florida is by average of age is the oldest state.
You would think that
they're the most vulnerable to
mm-hmm.
this, and they're the most like I don't give a fuck.
But
like
think about the mentality though. Like people that are there's a retirement. Like Florida's a retirement state, right? So like you kind of like you really don't care. Like you kind of want to do what you want to do. You're retired. You want to live your life. You want to, it's kind of like that type of mentality.
But I think the problem is that no one is saying that you can't do what you want to do and live your life. We're just saying wear a mask while you go out and do what you want to do.
But also like maybe the parties can wait. Like they don't have to be at this moment going to the clubs and going to the bars. Maybe
you
that
will not
can
see
wait.
me at a club.
No, you won't see me there as well. Plus, I got a wife that will say I can't go all the time.
Beforehand, so
you said it wasn't going beforehand. So for me, I have not only like me, I'm cool. I feel like if I follow the guidelines and stuff, I think I'm pretty okay where I come because I have a pregnant wife who's also has an autoimmune disease. So I have to be really selective over who I'm around as well, kind of just like you, Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still astounded by there's some people who think it's fake. There's some people who think it's not as serious and I'm like, why? It seems like I talked to Shar earlier this week, and I said it seems like to be a Democrat and a Republican, you got to follow these strict rules. Yeah. So if you're a Republican, I have to believe this. I have to believe in pro-life. I have to, you know what I'm saying? Like I have these strict lists, and Democrats Democrats the same thing. They have this strict list of if you're a Democrat. Like, if you're a Republican, how dare you believe in pro-choice? Mm-hmm. Like, and that's why I see it's coming from here. I see it's more of the Democrats that are like, they're cautious. California like completely shut down. But you got the Republicans who are not taking, Georgia, of course, is a red state, and they don't seem to be taking it seriously. I'm just shocked at how politicized this thing is.
Yeah. I must say, though, of all the people I think who handled it best, do you think New York is probably that handled it best?
New York is the one that handles it the best.
Because it was pretty much the epicenter.
Yeah.
That's where it started.
It was.
Everything pretty much started.
And the reason is because everybody's so on top of each other. Yeah. So if an outbreak is going to happen in New York or New Jersey, those northeast states, because everybody's so on top of each other.
And the travel. Yeah. They are also a large hub for a lot of international flights going in and going out, JFK. Just like a lot, there's a lot going on there.
But more importantly, what he did, which what a lot of these cities are not doing, is he's following what the data is telling him for his city. And like Georgia, our own governor just chooses to ignore what the data is telling him to do and would prefer to listen to whatever his president is telling him.
Right. I think he followed the data. Kemp is the governor of Georgia. But I think he followed the data when it was convenient for him.
Yes.
So when it was stabilizing, now he believes the data, and now that it's going up, he's like, I don't believe the data anymore. Just like Trump, when the polls were good for him, he believed it, and then when they're going against him, he doesn't believe it. So I think that's kind of what happened here. So now we're talking about this week. schools open. And that's well, let me say, schools opened last week,
Yeah.
but from our county, we're in Gwinnett County. Are you in Gwinnett County?
No, I'm in DeKalb.
Okay. So for Gwinnett County, they start this Wednesday.
Mhm.
And we had to have a big decision. I think it's better for her to be in person, but it's not safe for being in person. And it's not even like I don't even know what the guidelines of the school is. I don't trust her. I don't trust my daughter because she's nasty. Kids are nasty.
Oh my god.
Kids is nasty. They don't care, and I don't trust her. So we decided that she will be doing virtual learning. So what do you guys think about schools kind of reopening? Because we seen in Paulding County, the high school that the young lady took the picture of them. No, I think only like 2 was wearing masks or something like that, but the crowded hallways. And she got suspended, but then they reversed. Yeah, they reinstated it. Mm-hmm. But how do you feel about the kids going back to school?
I really believe it should really be based off of what's going on in your area.
That's what Dr. Fauci said.
Yeah, it's really that simple. And like we talked about New York earlier. New York is now considering reopening their schools.
They reopened it. They ain't considered it.
Yeah, they are reopening it. But it's really, but it's based off of data because of the amount of cases that's being reported, the amount of deaths, and they say based off of this information in comparison to where we were before, we feel that this is the safest time that we can open our schools. It really should be based off of that and nothing more, nothing less.
So you're saying it's based off the data?
It should be.
Okay, how do you feel?
I think data is great, but I don't think that our data is so good that schools should be open in person. Like I don't know a single place in this country where the data is so good that let's open schools in person. I say that it would be wise to have schools open initially virtually while we scope out what happens over the next several months. Of course, the problem with that is that everyone can't learn that way, right? So some kids, especially if they are already in learning support type of situations, they're going to be at even more of a disadvantage. And most schools are not set up for that. But that's a completely different conversation because I feel like the United States educational system is messed up because they completely always miss out on opportunities in that respect. But I do think it should be virtual initially, and then let's see where the trending goes so that it's at a safer level. I don't think that's necessarily going to be such a safe level where there's no cases at all, but like at least trending way down from where we are right now before we say, okay, let's put kids back there. I mean, the one school had how many cases? Was it like 200?
Yeah, that was the camp. That was the camp that had over 200 cases in Georgia.
And so, like, I feel like that's just setting us up to put the schools in those same types of positions.
I'd take a quick look at baseball. If you see baseball, they open up their season. They didn't do a bubble, and they can't keep their cases under control. And that's what is going to happen. Like these kids, for people who have kids that's listening. Like kids, they don't think about the bigger picture. Like my daughter, she mad that she couldn't go to the pool, and I was like, I don't think it's safe for you to go to the pool. And she mad. She mad. She don't care about she could get something and bring it home. She don't care about none of that. And that's how kids are. They're gonna sit. They're gonna exchange masks. They're gonna hug each other because they haven't seen each other in months. And yeah, you're saying that the curve, especially in New York, is being flattened, but that's just in New York. Like compared to countries, like we're doing more than countries are doing in a state.
Yeah, but that's the question. So if we're going to say everyone is going to learn virtually, does that mean we're looking for a federal mandate? Because
he already said he ain't doing it. He wants the schools to open.
I don't think, and isn't
Trump wants the school to open.
What's it, Betsy DeVos?
Yeah, they want the schools to open.
So that's where it has to begin. In order for us to say everyone start virtually, it has to be from a federal level. Otherwise, everyone is going to do what they feel is best for their city, for their county. Right.
But that's what we've been doing. Trump led it up to the states to figure out what they were going to do, just so he can criticize. So he tried to criticize New York and California, and then big up Florida and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that's pretty much any federal mandate is like the set base law, but each state basically figures out how they're going to apply that mandate. So you honestly really don't even need a federal mandate for that. It needs to be a choice that these governors and these politicians in their areas and sectors are pushing to make sure
So
they're doing.
You don't want to put it on the parents to make the decision? Because this is what I say. Yeah, it's also a have and a have-nots kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm in a situation where I can work from home. So her doing virtual learning doesn't hurt. But what about people who are essential and they can't afford their kids to be at home? What about people who have multiple kids and they ain't got multiple laptops for them to do it? So I understand that it should be virtual, but then I understand the person who wants them to come home. But that's almost like a sad situation that I got to have my kid take this risk because I can't afford the kid to be at home.
Yeah.
So what do you do about them?
It's a catch-22.
Well, and I'll even add to that because my wife works at Girls Inc., which is pretty much a program for after-school program for kids. Mm-hmm. So because of that, some of the parents look at it as a baby after-school program to babysit their kids. So if that's not available, and like to your point, Daryl, what do parents do? And I think that's why at some point you have to make the decision just based off of, I'm not sure how detailed you can get, but in terms of demographic, in terms of location, in terms of, income, like who's going, like, can we even get to that level of even possibly getting that detail of a plan in terms of actually creating a reopening?
I honestly think this situation is going to make us have to plan. We don't do enough with education to be really prepared for situations like this. So I think that it's going to take us kind of like, it's going to push the envelope on what we need to do. We see that we are so far behind when other countries are able to just easily like put in virtual learning because it's already incorporated in their curriculum.
Yes. Right.
But I think I get what you're saying in that respect. I was just saying that was my thought, but there's so many different things to whether in person or not in person, because not only with are they going to have the technology to support that in every families, but some of these kids don't eat unless they go to school. No, so then that creates even more of a stress on families as well, because where they were getting food from being at school in those programs, now they're having to be able to afford that as well as, get the, technology they need to be able to support virtual learning. It's just going to be...
And some parents got to miss money because they got to be home with their kid.
Exactly.
Which was kind of funny to me that, like, I was like, if coronavirus happened when we were kids, first of all, the whole neighborhood get affected.
Yes.
Like, I'm not staying in the house. I'm going. But my mom did not have she didn't care to leave me at home at long stretches of time. And I think it's funny for these kids because, they not built like that. So they can't be home for long stretches of time, man. And so the parents who can't stay home, that's when I'm like, what are they going to do? Like, if I work at Walmart, I'm essential. I need this money to pay my bills. But if I work in Gwinnett is all virtual. What do I do?
I guess the question is can we create a hybrid that gives the option of, based off your circumstances, you choose to take your kid to school, but then if you can...
But I think you can do a hybrid, and I think that's what they were doing at first. Mm-hmm. But then the high school in Paulding County was packed.
Yeah.
That was a hybrid. And I was thinking in my head, like, it ain't going to be a lot of parents letting their kids go to school. It's only going to be the kids that have to go, that are going, and it's not. And then you had one kid, he was tested positive on Wednesday after the first day of school. Now, they tried to blame the school for it. I think you should blame the parents because obviously this kid had it before and still sent them to school. So that's even a problem that some parents are going to send kids to school knowing that they're sick.
And they do that all the time.
All the time anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just a huge variables and it's just a huge problem, man. And I don't know if there's even a right and wrong answer. What I told my wife is what they should have did. If Trump wants the schools open so bad, he should have mandated everybody get a coronavirus test. They should have had in front of the school one of those drive-in things, and all the students, all the parents can have a test right then and there, like maybe like 3 weeks before school started. Like, you got to at least do the bare minimum, and you're not even like doing that. So I know y'all don't have kids, but if they did that, what would y'all think about that?
I mean, I don't have an issue with, you have to, because schools do that already. You have to have vaccines. They have to have the
but I'm saying strictly for this, though.
But, I mean, so it's like a similar thing.
Right.
So I wouldn't find an issue with, having to have my child not vaccinated, but have my child have a test. I just still will be concerned because we're gonna be. Not every parent is going to follow that.
Yeah, and that's the issue.
And that's the problem.
This
it's
is
just
what
like with vaccines. Not every parent wants their kids to be vaccinated.
To be vaccinated,
so
yes, right.
It's the same thing. Like everyone takes certain things based on their own moral compass or what they feel is right. So it kind of like affects everyone else.
No, and that's true because I'm always going to look at baseball as an example. Baseball put these strict guidelines for these people. And the Florida Marlins had an outbreak, the Miami Marlins. You know what they found out when they were investigating them? That they were going out to bars.
Oh, wow.
And that's why they got it. So just what you're saying is it's too many variables to open the schools up to this because not everybody's going to look at, we're in Georgia, a red state. I'm sure there's some diehard Trump supporter that believes this is a joke and going to do whatever.
Oh, there are. I had a conversation with someone that was trying to tell me basically this is a hoax and they don't really think it's real. I'm like, so then why do you feel all these people are just dying?
160,000 people.
So I guess my question is, do you feel like they really believe that? Or
she absolutely just...
What is she saying?
She was just like, well, I don't think this is real. I think it's fake. I think they're just making it all up just to create drama. Because, I have no idea, and I couldn't get through that conversation because it was a drive-through, so I didn't have that much time to talk to this person. But I was looking at her like, "Are you serious?" And like, you realize people are literally dying.
But not only people are literally dying, the government is losing money. Right. You think that's what they want to do?
And businesses.
Yeah, the businesses. Do you think the NCAA tournament? You know how much they lost? Billions of dollars. Why would people want that? Why would you think that this is a hoax? That the NBA lost money, the NFL lost money, the baseball lost money. Like, why do you think people think that this is a hoax so much that they're gonna lose their money for it?
I mean,
we're brainwashed, man.
I mean, some people are brainwashed. Some people also believe that a lot of viruses that we have are man-made. Engineered.
Yeah, so, man-made. I heard that a lot.
It's kind of like believable. Like if you think about how technologically advanced you think about how technologically advanced we are as a country, especially when it comes to like epidemiology and that part of medical science. We are so advanced that we could definitely generate.
No, I agree.
I'm not saying I believe in that, but I do think it's possible that it could happen.
Well, why would we want to? I'm probably going to sound naive saying this, but why would we want to hurt ourselves? Especially when we think about how in the past, in terms of how many people were just dying off of simple diseases.
No, I think what you're trying to say is I don't know a business that wants to kill their clientele.
Kill their clientele,
like I don't understand that aspect of it.
Well, if you look at it as looking at it based on individual businesses, you may not see it at that level because a business wants more profit, right? So you need more revenue, you need more customers. But if you look at it from like you're looking at a great bigger picture of governing or managing an entire country. You have to put people in disadvantaged places to be able to get from them.
Yes.
So businesses can profit from them. So if you were putting people in certain like sectors or dispositioning them to be a certain way, then now you're controlling.
Yeah, but you talking about black. I'm assuming this person was white. That you were
the
cusser. But this is that's what I'm saying. So white people can believe that. But when black people say this and this and this is going on, they can't believe it. That.
Yeah, I think that it's possible. I think the government does do things that puts people in positions so they can continue power, and we know that happens.
They've been proven the Tuskegee experiments. Right. It's been proven redlining,
right?
And that's what I'm saying. When black people were the most susceptible to this, they were dying at a higher rate. Well, we don't have a trust for the government. We don't have a trust for medical because they have shown a history to not be trusted. Right. So that's astounding to me that white people then have this conspiracy theory, but when we say, we're supposed to shut up. We're just supposed to shut up and take it.
Do you think the conspiracy theory is because they truly believe it, or because they want to support the person that it gives them a reason to support the current power?
Because you had some people believe that the mask was like facial recognition, like crazy stuff like that.
It's not even giving you a facial structure to be able to analyze.
And you have a cousin that believes. You want to tell the people what your cousin believes?
He believes that I'll give you the story. My cousin actually went to Alabama with his girlfriend from New York. To which I told him once he returned home that he would actually have to get a test. To which he told me that he doesn't want to get a test because he believes that people are actually getting positive results, are actually catching corona based off of them actually taking the test.
So they saying that the people are giving them coronavirus to taking the test. So I had somebody.
I heard that before. Wasn't there some tests that were?
Yeah, they said there were some tests that were faulty, but not that the government was actually doing it. Now you get some stuff that you get a false positive, which is very rare for a false positive, but you might get a false negative, which is a little bit more common. But the test is not 100% accurate. No test is 100% accurate.
But also, I guess if it's truly a genocide, wouldn't we want to have this a little bit more designed that we actually give the faulty the corona given test to the population that we want to impact the most?
Right, and then wouldn't it be negative so you can spread it?
Yeah. Why would they tell you positive? That in the beginning it was so hard to get a test at all.
Right.
Yeah. But you could have all these celebrities and all these football players.
Well, the whole NBA gets daily tests.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they have access to the test as if it's like just an unlimited supply. But you had different counties here in Georgia where the incidence was so high where they couldn't even get a test.
Because you took the test, right?
I had a test. Well, now you can get the test sent to you, shipped to
you.
Yeah,
you can get a test, but you could do a drive-through and go through LabCorp, and they'll tell you the actual test. But the conspiracy theories to think that people are actually going to positively give you the virus is insane. But people think that way. So my question to y'all then is, if we have all these people with all these different thinkings, how do we flatten the curve? Like, how do we go ahead and do it? Because first of all, it's simple to flatten the curve. Wear your mask, social distancing, wash your hands. The CDC spells it out to flatten the curve. So what do y'all think should happen? Like, do you think like the government should be more strict? Do you think there should be a law mandating masks? What do you think should happen at this point to flatten the curve?
I don't want the government to become any more involved than what they are, because they haven't really done anything. I think it's really up to us to really kind of take the reins and understand. Number one and first and foremost, we need to educate ourselves about the disease.
Absolutely.
I think that it's always the biggest issue, and I think it's the biggest obstacle, especially in the poor populations of the country, or underserved populations of the country. Educate them on the virus, what causes it, what things can help to make sure that it doesn't spread, to minimize that. And I think from there, then we need to have businesses all take a stand to not really serve people that aren't wearing a mask. And I think it can start there. And then from there, we can see how that evolves. And then from that point, we figure out the next step. Because we know that, okay, masks are great, but what happens when we start to wear masks consistently? What are we going to see? Is there going to be changes in how? Because essentially, this virus mutates in each person that it goes in. So it's a different experience for each person. So we don't know if now that people are in masks and not getting it, and people that have gotten it, is it going to be a different type of a virus or symptoms or, but I think that's the first step.
Right.
Really.
What about you, Shaw?
I mean, I think we know how to prevent ourselves from getting it. The question is, can we come together as a country and actually just do what we're supposed to do? The question is no. So unfortunately, it forces us to have faith in our fellow man, that we hope that of all the 330 million people in our
proposition
in our great nation, at least a large percentage of those individuals will trust the science and do what they're supposed to do.
Well, when you have 49% of white people still voting for Trump, it's a little hard to believe that that's the case. I think also what needs to happen is there has to be some type of engineered test where we could take from home. Whereas, like, you have to basically, like, you brought up the NBA and their tests, and they test every day. They even have, like, a wristband that helps them pick up certain symptoms in, like, 3 days after exposure. And they've seen the whole time that they have not had any positive coronavirus cases. Also, the bubble helps that, but we need to be able to test where we can test from home and we can get our results quickly, almost like a pregnancy test or something. Like not probably where we got pee on the stick. I'm just saying that the results come like within.
You just want to take a pregnancy test.
No, I don't want to take a. I want to take a. To be honest, I want to take a coronavirus test because I want to know if I have the antibodies. Because if I do have the antibodies, my lifestyle is gonna change. I'm a wild out.
They're all gonna be coughing on everyone.
On everybody, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna pull up.
I know what your wild out looks like because I've never seen.
I want to pull up to Walmart without a mask, and when they stop me, I want to shove the paper in their face and let them know that I got the antibodies.
And
cool.
But you know
they
you
should.
can get it again still. Like
yeah, you could get it again, but as long as your antibodies stay in your body for like 3 weeks. So I'm gonna wild out for 3 weeks. And then once the 3 weeks come, I'll go back to quarantine.
So are you voting for Trump? Because that sounds like a very
no, that doesn't sound like a Trump. Trump is on that bullshit, man. So to speak about it though, if they came out tomorrow and they said we have discovered a vaccine, we have did our test and has minimal side effects, would y'all take it?
I like Edward answer first.
Why you let Edward?
I would take it. I've taken
you would take it?
Okay,
Edward. Okay, Shaw.
If I'm clear to take it, I would actually take it.
I would take it.
Are you allowed to take vaccines?
But that's the point. So I would have to.
So you would have to be cleared.
Well, I had to ask that question to my coordinator the other day and ask them if they would come out with a vaccine, would I be able to take it? And they were actually trying to determine whether or not I can. But if it comes out where I can take it, then I would.
Because they have several vaccines that look promising, but they have to go through the trials. So we have I think it's 2 in the United States and several overseas that look promising. I would definitely take it, but my problem is people on social media. You see them I'm gonna wait a month because I seen I Am Legend and I'm not gonna take it. So for those people, I'm like, what do you want? What is the conclusion you want at this point? Because ironically, we're not going to go back to normal life until a vaccine is created. So when a vaccine is created, we're going to say, nah, we ain't going to take it because we don't trust the government. So what do you want?
I mean, it's the same thing with the flu shot.
Yeah.
It's
the same thing with everything.
You're going to have people who are just not going to cooperate.
So hopefully enough of us do that it's not a pandemic.
Immunity. I mean, and that's pretty much what happens with every single virus.
But remember
with the flu virus.
Right.
That pandemic, what was that, in the 70s?
But they said it with chickenpox. Chickenpox was a huge, parents, when we were kids, of course now they have a vaccine for it, but a parent, if they had a kid that had chickenpox, they would send us over there, play with them, so we would get exposed to it because it was deadlier as an adult than it was as a kid.
Right.
Horrible parenting, by the way. Yeah. Horrible parenting. Get you exposed to a disease, horrible parenting, but we've all done it. I've done it. So
I had chickenpox.
Yeah, I had chickenpox as well. So all of our parents, horrible parents. We won't get parent of the year for it. So another thing that's being politicized is the drug hydroxychloroquine. That is a huge, and again, it depends on the party if you believe in this or not. Democrats are saying no. Dr. Fauci says this is not shows any positives to taking this drug. The CDC said it as well. Who said all the major scientists have said there is no positive. They did numerous tests and they haven't shown a big difference of taking this. But the Republicans and of course Trump said he did take it. You have other scientists on that side that said if you take it early enough, it does help with your recovery. So I wanted to see what do y'all think about the politicizing of this drug, this hydroxychloroquine?
I think I can't really listen to anything Trump says because he already killed somebody. He should really be on trial for that person deciding to listen to him.
The one who took hydroxychloroquine,
but so he didn't even take it. He took a component. What
he did was it was a couple, and they took it. It was something that was supposed to be for their aquarium,
right?
And they took it, and the husband died, and the woman was in. Oh my God! She was in ICU for it. So yes, but he and it skyrocketed. Actually, the sales of it kind of skyrocketed because when he said it, people rushed out to try to buy it, to take it. But some scientists swear by this drug. Yeah. Swear by it.
I'm not. I mean, I'm gonna go with WHO and CDC. I don't.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go. You're not gonna go with the Kenya doctor that said you get pregnant by ghosts.
Aliens.
Aliens are making vaccines from aliens' DNA. You not gonna go with her?
Not gonna go with her.
I mean, she
Not
was on
this year.
TV.
Maybe next year. I don't know about this year.
She was on
She had a
TV.
YouTube channel.
She had a YouTube channel.
I'm sure she has lots of followers. You can have a YouTube channel for anything.
So there's no way you're taking hydroxy, because some doctors do believe if you administer it with certain guidelines, it does help. Some do believe that.
I mean, but some do. But it's so. It's
What
like,
if your doctor believed it and said it?
If my doctor's going to recommend it, then I would do it. My doctor has not recommended it. I also have not been able to do enough research to understand whether or not I need to do it. So I don't really just go. My healthcare is not really. Is more patient-centered. So before a doctor will prescribe me something, I'm going to figure out how it's going to affect me.
Oh, really?
Because I need to know. And we're going to talk about, you're going to let me know what you know from your professional experience, and I'm going to let you know what I read. So we're going to do this thing together. It's not going to be you tell me what I take.
You better than me.
Because I was on at one point.
Listen, man.
I think that's really the direction.
When I get prescribed drugs, I take them.
You just pop them.
I pop them, man.
Okay.
You know how I feel about pills.
I had to change that because I have high blood pressure, so a lot of the high blood pressure medications that they administer African Americans long term has some really serious side effects.
Right.
And they just give them to Black people, not taking the care about how it really affects us as being a people of color. So that when I started to go through that phase, that's where it all changed. And I really feel like, for me, if my doctor is saying, yes, I feel like you should do it, we're going to have a discussion about it.
Because it's funny, because we, with my son coming, we would talk about pediatricians, and she was like, what do you want in a pediatrician? And I said, the only requirement I want at this moment is a Black woman. Because she can understand the culture, the backgrounds, our thinkings. That's kind of what you're saying as well. My doctor is a white guy, and I love the guy, but if he prescribed me drugs, I'm taking them. Listen, man, I'm a guy who likes the feeling.
The feeling.
Like you saw, you saw when I was on the pain medicine. I was really mad. They gave me the
different class.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I tried to talk to my doctor.
Basically, almost you want narcotics.
I do, but he wouldn't prescribe it for me. I think he knew what I was trying to do.
He knew you were.
He knew you were
susceptible.
If they give me the high,
you were susceptible to
being an addict. He was like, "Yo, you could get addiction to it." I was like, "Man, I'm tough. I'll take that. I fight that."
We have a pusher and not a good doctor there.
No, it's a good doctor because he didn't prescribe it.
No, he didn't prescribe it to me.
Okay,
he didn't. He wouldn't prescribe it to me. So what do you? If your doctor prescribed you, would you take it?
First of all, I don't believe Trump took it. I just want to put it out there. Put that in the street.
He does say he has taken it.
So, I don't believe him.
Okay.
But as for me, because I take so much medicine now, and I have to be very careful about what I take.
Right.
Most likely, I wouldn't do it whether my doctor told me to do it or not, because I don't see enough evidence for me to take the chance
for you to
of
actually
taking it.
Gotcha,
so unless I see something where we good, then it's probably not gonna enter my system.
He's way more scientific facts to go with that.
Yeah.
So how's y'all mental health been though during this? Because I think Michelle Obama on her first podcast was talking about how she was depressed during the whole lockdown and everything. I think it was a lot of stuff that happened to do with the government and stuff. But how's y'all let's do a mental health check-in. How's your mental health been during this lockdown?
It's actually been challenging, honestly, because I'm such a social person. I want to be out there. So I have to find other things to occupy that need or fulfill that need. So I've been doing a lot of writing. So I've been feeling a lot.
What you been writing?
Man,
promote your book, man.
So, I don't know if it's going to be a book or not, but I've been writing and journaling. And so basically, I was in a relationship for about 2 years, a little more than 2 years. And so I've been back into the dating pool. So I've just been writing about the end of the relationship and then trying to put myself back into the scene for dating. So I'm just writing. I don't know if it's ever going to come into a book, but I said I was going to write for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. It transpires and turns into a book. Then it turns into a book on my 40th. But That's what I've been doing. A lot of journaling, a lot of writing, just
Yeah.
mostly about
Do we
my
have
journey back into.
Do we have a name for said book?
I don't have a name for book right now. It's just post, like just writing.
You know what's a funny thing about it is because I took time out to kind of like just decompress and spend time with my family, and then I started now focusing on my life and where it kind of go, and I actually started writing as well.
Okay,
So yeah, I started writing my own graphic novel because I'm in the comic books, I'm in the superhero, so I started writing that as well, and then y'all kind of pushed me to start back up, this podcast to start this back up. So what about Shaw? How's your mental health been?
Mine actually have been pretty good, I must say, because for me, this journey have been for me to get back to myself. And of course, for me, over the past 3 years, I've kind of been in such a low place that, considering where I'm at now, is definitely on the uptick in terms of trying to get more strength back, trying to get back my color, just lose a few pounds. So I'm just on that journey.
So you're walking.
I am walking. Yes, I am.
Oh, I don't believe that. How many steps? Where's the watch at?
We kind of. Okay, I don't want to say.
No, say the step. This
is
4:30. Yes, in the afternoon
I can actually go ahead
on Sunday.
Okay,
how many steps do you have?
Not a good representation.
Oh my gosh! Every time we ask.
But I am at 2,500 steps.
2,500 steps.
But I put mine back on today.
I'm at 7,000 steps.
Okay, what have you been doing?
I run every morning.
Okay.
Every morning I run. Yeah, every morning.
Yeah, yesterday I was at like 12,000 steps yesterday.
I am proud of myself. I have an average.
You're proud of yourself.
About probably 5,000 to 6,000 steps over the past few.
Can we verify that?
You can actually. Yeah, I will challenge you.
I will look
to
at
go
it.
ahead.
But what is it? What do we put as his goal?
His goal, you should do at least 10 to 12,000.
Dude, I'm getting that
a day. Me. Yeah, a normal person should do about 10 to 12,000 steps.
I'm getting there.
So let's say 6,000. Let's say you do have.
Okay.
We can do that.
We can do that. We have been doing that.
Okay.
Well, he'll be able
to I'll check it. I'll check it because we're friends on Fitbit. So I'll check it.
Yeah, so I'm in a good place. And plus, I've been doing Zoom calls with my friends and actually talking to people. They have this house party app where we can play games over the the phone. So that's kind of pretty much that's how I've been keeping my sanity. Just trying to reconnect with a lot of people that that's close to my life.
Have y'all went anywhere during this time? Because for me, I haven't been a good job keeping my sanity. Like my focus right now, we're trying to buy a house. So when I get really linear focus, I go really hard on it, and I was getting obsessed to the point I had to leave. I went on a walk because I was getting so insane focused on this and
about the house.
Yeah, me and the wife figured out that it's like both of us haven't left. We didn't have a honeymoon because our honeymoon got canceled because of COVID, and since the wedding was the only break I had away from work, and then I haven't done nothing. So we're planning to do something next month. But have y'all done anything?
My big thing is gonna be around Thanksgiving. I haven't gone anywhere.
Oh, Thanksgiving because my son is supposed to be born around Thanksgiving. You're supposed to be there.
He won't be at the hospital.
No, he need to be. No, you can't be at the hospital, but I need you to be outside the hospital.
I'm going to be
with your credit card in hand.
What are we charging at that point?
Yeah, everybody has a subscription to my son's lifestyle. So all of them, I'm going to collect all y'all's cards as well as Raw, who's not here, and we're going to charge it every month. Just like $150 a month, man.
$150 a month. That's like gymnastics.
I know, man.
Hey, man, we all gotta work this out together. We all in this together.
3 people.
I wasn't there when it happened, so I don't feel like I need to.
But you contribute to the situation.
Okay.
Did you not help pay for my basketball?
That's $5,000.
Listen, man.
Almost $6,000.
Well, good for him. He'll have a leg up. He'll have a leg up on society.
Oh God, no.
No. So what have you done, Char, since my kid's future is not a concern of yours?
I kind of had half my body out in these streets.
Half your body out in these streets? What does that mean? Should we even...
So I'll explain. So I actually went to Savannah the week before your wedding. And although we were in Savannah,
He's done a lot of traveling.
He's done a lot of travel.
Isn't that ironic? He's done the most travel
out of all of us.
And he has had the biggest major surgery.
Okay, can I explain, please? So when we went to Savannah, we didn't go anywhere. We had an Airbnb. We cooked at the Airbnb. So we really didn't go anywhere. We just kind of stayed ourselves. And of course, we only went with the people that were in our home. And it just so happened last week for my wife's birthday,
You went to Paris.
we took a trip. We went to Myrtle Beach, Paris for the weekend. So we went to Myrtle Beach on the beach. We were kind of chilling, away from everybody.
But then, like a couple weeks before that, you were in South Carolina again.
No, when?
Yes, you were, because you were helping your friend move.
Oh, yeah.
No,
helping
that
a friend move.
that was a joke. I was in Douglasville, Georgia when that happened. So we were not in South Carolina.
But you done the most out of all of us.
Kind of, sort of.
All of us have
No,
traveled.
you really have. None of us. I don't even think Raw traveled anywhere.
Yeah, none of us have done anything.
You are the only one that's gone out of state.
Well, no, Raw went to Barbados before the wedding, before the original day of the wedding.
Oh,
yeah.
because
So-
he had to go. He was doing the thing for his
Right.
grandmother. Yeah.
Yeah. So he did that.
Uh-huh.
So, but
But
you,
is South Carolina really out of the state?
South Carolina is
It's
the definition of out of the state.
I kind of blend Georgia and South Carolina together, as just one big state.
Okay, so I wonder why they gave it two separate names.
Like, nah, this is really Georgia.
This is Georgia.
This is really Georgia.
We're just gonna call it South Carolina.
But I don't think we'll be doing anything anymore for the rest of the year. So I think we're done.
For the rest of the year. So we plan to do a Christmas where we're going to Florida. Same thing where we all just staying in the house that we're going to rent out. But I think that's it, kind of what we're doing because, my son is supposed to be born November 25th. And I ain't going to do nothing anyway except collect credit cards from y'all. That's
Just
my
out of
only goal.
curiosity, have you actually thought about, I guess you probably already know,
What?
but in terms of how much your life is going to change in the sense of once the son is born, where you're probably going to be definitely more inside now?
I feel like you aren't
Yeah.
gonna do anything. You're gonna be like, you're gonna be just like a.
I think I'm going to get more annoyed at people coming over. I think people are going to come over.
No one even comes over.
Yeah, but they're going to come over
Well,
now.
the babies are
Yeah.
here, so
Yeah.
definitely.
They're gonna come over now. I think like my family and her family, like that, and it's gonna be trying to like say, nah, you got time slots of where y'all.
I had a friend who just had a baby. I guess the baby's a year old now, but for the first 6 months, no one could come to the house. Like they kind of separate
Right.
themselves completely.
We
from everyone.
probably won't do something like that unless something happens.
Yeah.
We probably won't do anything. But she was afraid that people were gonna call this the Corona baby because a lot of people were talking about we're making jokes at how many babies are gonna be born during the coronavirus period. And we were just before it, but I told her, I was like, people gonna call it coronavirus no matter what. So you might as well just kind of
Just name them Corona baby.
just name it. Just name it. Just
Corona.
Corona.
Corona Jones.
I need to name
Call
on
him
CJ.
Corona.
Cancun. That's what I need. If that's the case, I
Hey,
need to name
CJ
him
went from
Cancun.
both situations.
CJ. So let me see where I'm at. I got another question for you guys. Do you think that? I think you said about the government mandate and masks. Do you don't think that the government should do it? What is the next step then? So, like, where do we kind of go from here? That's kind of where I want to start ending it. Where do we go from here? So we talked about people are just not doing it, and what do we do from here? Are we just waiting it out? Because people talk about herd immunity was a thing that came out, and herd immunity is a really, to people who don't know, is a really idiotic concept. And the concept is that most people get it, they will build an immunity of it. But to have herd immunity, you have to have 70% of the population get it. We are nowhere near 70%. We're probably not even at 10%, like of the people who got it. So for herd immunity, has to almost do like 3 years for
it's
herd
gonna be-
immunity.
That's what happened with flu. That's
Yeah.
what happened with a lot of different.
But to say we're waiting on herd
I'm
immunity
not waiting on
is.
it. I absolutely don't want to wait on it.
So what do we do now? Where are we going with
I
now?
think we just learn to adjust. I mean, that's all.
Yeah,
we can
it's
do.
just gonna. It's gonna be just a whole
Yeah.
lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't feel like it. We talk about getting back to normal. There's not gonna be a normal. Our
Right.
normal is gonna be a new normal.
Right,
So
right.
we're just gonna have to learn how to adapt to that change or those changes.
No, I agree, man. I think we got to figure out we got to respect the virus and learn how to live with it, kind of just like we learn how to live with anything else. I'm waiting for the movie theaters to open.
I don't think that's gonna happen for a while.
No, I'm waiting for the movie theaters to open.
I think it's
And
gonna be
I'm
less
ready.
packed. They won't be.
Oh, it'd definitely be less packed.
But do you realize there's actually more drive-through movies that's actually happening?
I don't want to do drive-through.
Drive-in.
I want to go back to
You
the
know,
I
I
say
movies.
drive-through, drive-in movies.
Drive through. Drive through. The movie's done.
Yeah, drive-in. I said drive-through too. Drive-in
Those are
movies.
cool. Drive-in movies are.
Yeah,
good.
I've been.
I mean,
I've been.
Corey could
I don't
get in
know.
convertible, just drive down
and get it in.
Oh
get it in,
my
man.
gosh.
Get it in the
See,
back
baby
seat.
number 3 coming, you know.
Baby number 3 coming. So get it in the back
About
seat.
that,
No, I want to go. I'm ready to get back. Get back to regular life. But how do we do it at this point? Is the problem because people not listening. So somebody was like, me not wearing a mask doesn't harm you, and I was like, yes, it does. It keeps me in the house longer because you refuse to do it. So it's just where do we go from there? Because we're talking about no laws. Are we just kind of just staying route as the businesses and all that?
I think that's the only thing you really can't do. We can't really, we can't really govern our lives based on how other people are going to respond to the pandemic. We kind of have to respond ourselves and be responsible, and hopefully there's enough responsible people, because we know not everyone's going to be responsible. There's enough responsible people that changes outcomes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to focus on myself, but I will tell people about themselves. Like this one lady, this one lady that I'm like, okay, we're in the line. It's busy because I was in Michael's. So I was doing a project. And she was just like right here. I'm like, yo, can you back? Her and her husband were looking at me crazy, but every time I moved up, she was like right behind me. I'm like, they literally in every store put down these little circles. Stand on your circle. I'm like, stand on your circle. And then I saw this mom and all her kids. She had no mask on. The kids had no mask on. And I'm just like, I can only really control what I have influence over, so I'm a do what I
continue doing
do
that.
Exactly what I know I need to do, and hopefully that will protect me, and me protecting myself will help others. But as far as everyone else, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just dive into the clearance bin whenever you see somebody without a mask coming your way.
Just hide real quick. But what I do like is that the businesses have caught up to this. So when we go to the store, remember when we went to the store, hand sanitizer was gone.
Yeah.
If you ordered a mask from Amazon, it was taking over a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now you could just go to the store, you can get it. You go to the hand sanitizer. Right. So the businesses have caught up, which I thought was extremely, extremely good. But what do you think that we could do? Like, where do we go from here?
Like I said, just adapt.
Just adapt. Just live with it.
Have your hand sanitizer. Just avoid people who's not following the rules. I don't know if I have the energy to just tell people about themselves because I just don't have the strength at this point. I'm like,
no, you need to back up.
Yeah.
I
mean, if you up on me, I'm gonna say something. But like at this point, I just accept the fact that there's gonna be some people who are gonna comply, and there's gonna be some
people is not.
But I think the majority of the people are complying. So that's
I hope so. At least in Gwinnett, I haven't seen any issues in our county of people. What I learned from this situation though is that it's two major things I learned. The one thing is kind of a joke, and the one thing is serious. The one thing is I can't grow a beard. So that's the major thing that I've learned.
You really tried, though.
That I really tried because we wasn't getting haircuts in 3 months, and I was like, as soon as I got my haircut, I was like, well, if it ain't happening this time, it's not. During this time, it's not gonna happen. But the major thing I also learned is that people are not prepared for a pandemic. The next pandemic was gonna happen, and when I say pandemic, I mean in your personal life. So if you lose a job, if your car breaks down, we're not prepared for it. So I think I learned that I need to, in my personal life, start being prepared from this. So I'm interested in what you guys learned from this situation.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because it did force me to go back and reevaluate my finances in terms of how I spend, what we're spending money on. Mm-hmm. I found out that Eva was drafting out money from my
he had the card. You should have slid over the card number to me, man.
But the point is, I didn't catch it. So those are things
if you don't catch, I mean,
that's rich people problems.
Exactly. I'm not catching it. I'm like, how is this going on for so many months? I'm like, I'm getting an email thinking it's coming out of my account and it's coming out of his account, and he didn't catch it not one time. Like it was months. It was last September.
It had to be like about 6 months at that point. But those are things that it forces you to start looking at. Sit down and say, okay, what's really going on?
Problems. So it made you look more into your finances and the budgets and stuff. I think for me, it happened the same way. Like I'm really serious about paying off debts. And that's what it made me look at. And especially like the stimulus check when that came in, that went straight to debts for mine. and also went to my emergency account. But what about you?
Yeah, same. Finances is definitely top of the books. Like being prepared and just saving, and you know, just like you said, just a financial reevaluation of where spending's going, how much savings happening. Also, it also helped me to understand that there's a lot of relationships that I don't nourish. So,
oh, that's a
since
good
I had
one.
the time to sit there and think about, oh, well, I haven't really checked in on this person or that person. Let me call them and my family. Like me and my family, we don't talk often, but I was noticing that I don't really know what's going on in their life. So I've started to try to be a little bit more communicative. Is that a word? I think
We're gonna be a word today.
Communicative.
It's gonna be in your book.
Communicative.
Yeah.
Sorry, communicative to them or with them. Just checking in on them. You know, my mom had some major surgery as well during the pandemic. My dad has some things that I have to check in on him because he tries to be his own physician sometimes, and I'm just really trying to do that and make sure just checking on people and keep my finances up and do
that's major.
Some personal growth.
But I think to add to that, there's probably going to be a lot of businesses that are probably going to come from this because it did force me to try to figure out how I can be more independent and not necessarily concerned about where my next paycheck is going to come from or figure out you know what I mean. Come on,
yeah, you already in the
business.
Yeah,
worry about where next paycheck.
He was rich already.
But it forced you to say, okay, maybe we can go ahead and try to start this business, or maybe we should take a chance or put yourself out there and see what happens. And I think a lot of people are going to probably be better for it as a result of just having that time to just sit back and think about what's really going on in your life, So.
Yeah, I hope people really brought something to the situation because, like, I saw somebody was like, if you didn't come out with an idea of a business, you wasted your time. And I'm like, well, some people don't want to own their own business. Like, so you can't do that, but everybody has a personal journey, and I hope that they made good time of this. I feel for luckily, I think most of us were in a situation where our finances kind of didn't hurt during this time, and we feel for anybody who did, man. And this hopefully we learned and we became more financially independent. I'm just gonna leave it on this last question. We can start ending this. How y'all feel about the bathroom tissue being soaked up, man? Like.
It was hard out there for a minute.
It was hard. Like, it was like when I would go to the store, I wouldn't feel like it was a pandemic until I got to that section. And it was like empty. And then I went like early one morning. I was in Publix. I went early. And this older white guy, he was just looking at the paper towel. I just kind of like did the stiff arm and went by him and took, because I'm like, you taking too long, man. This is real. He had been like 70 or something. Like, but I'm like, you taking too, because the person behind me jumped us. And God. I'm like, yo, man, you taking too much time at this point. And I had to get it, man, because it was a essential resource at that time.
A toilet paper drop off by Elwood at one point.
You did make it toilet paper.
Yes,
yeah, but I didn't. I mean, I really wasn't like hurting because I don't only use toilet paper. I actually use white, which are better.
We're not ready.
Yeah, I was about to say where we had it. Where we had it with this.
They're flushable wipes. I mean, they're better for you anyway.
At one point, we was actually looking at the option of getting a bidet. Like a little attachable bidet because it was so bad with toilet paper, and we're like, okay, do we need to invest in a bidet?
And then you was really thinking, because at one point for paper towels, we were gonna do like you and just go to the dollar store and get like a bunch of rags because you have rags.
A rag.
Whatever, washcloth, whatever. It is a rag. What is it called?
Because they're towels.
They're rags.
Towels.
They're rags.
It's not a rag, man.
They are
rags. A tampon.
What? Oh, really? I didn't know.
What? I didn't know that.
A rag.
I've never heard that phrase before.
I've never heard that phrase.
It's like a pad.
I've never heard that phrase before.
It's their towel.
They're rags, man.
And they're not rags, man.
But I was thinking of doing that because it was running out. Now, what I did was at that time, every time I got paid, I went to the store. Even and I would get like a roll of bathroom just so we had it. Yeah. But that was a crazy time, man. And I was happy to go to the store and I see that it's stacks upon stacks of bathroom tissue. That makes me feel like we're getting better as a society.
That's how you measure progress.
That's how you measure progress. To see how much bathroom tissue.
And hand sanitizer that we have available.
Yeah, especially when you had to like, I had to get the Walmart brand
There's still no
bathroom
Lysol.
tissue.
No Lysol at all.
Oh, no Lysol. No, but it's like it was like liquid soap never ran out of stock.
Because people don't wash their hands.
That's what was crazy to me.
How crazy is that? You know?
That was
Yeah.
crazy to me that I've never had a trouble getting liquid soap.
People do not wash their hands. They're filthy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end this, man. We're just gonna say, like, for the coronavirus, man, just follow the CDC. Don't follow Trump. I think we're all in agreement of that. You know, physical distance, 6 feet away from people. Wash your hands constantly. Please wear a mask so we can get back to going to the movies, because the Marvel movies keep getting pushed back because of you people that are not doing it. Yeah, get the finances right. Do you guys have any parting words?
Just stay safe out in them streets.
Stay safe out in them streets. We want to say anything for Raw who did not show up to this?
Have your mask on in these streets, bro.
Have your mask on in these streets.
Doing.
We know what you're doing out in these streets. We're gonna be back next week. We're gonna talk about a serious subject, a more serious one than this. I guess, is it more serious? Well, kind of. We're gonna talk about police brutality and the Black experience dealing with police.
I'm not ready for this.
Are you ready? You gonna be ready for it? So that's gonna be our next topic on our next show. This is episode 1. We thank you guys for tuning in with us. Hopefully, you guys were thoroughly entertained, and that you keep on tuning in. Please let us know. Are you saying it wasn't entertaining? Please let us know what you think. All comments are welcome. Edward is ready for the smoke. If anybody wants to, EJ, I'm sorry, is ready for the smoke. If anybody wants to do it.
EJ, by the way.
Okay.
Just to kind of, you know.
Okay, we're closing. Like, this is a closing.
Yeah, this is the closing, man.
He's
like,
gonna go into another topic.
This is what he does. But again, this is the show this is a podcast that we're gonna talk. This is basically like the Black male's experience. So we're going to go through different topics, if it's entertainment, political, spiritual, just whatever's happening, and kind of go through the Black person experience. So we just, we invite you guys to do this experience with us as we, go through how our mental and stuff, how we're feeling with it. So until next time, we out.
Peace.